spoilers and expletives to follow.
Yes. Jonah loved this film, guys. No. Um, maybe he did. Stay
Uh,
tuned.
I don't know how to put into words how much I hated this movie. And I want to a couple things I want to level set right away. It had nothing to do with changing his race from a white person.
Mm-hmm.
I did not care about that whatsoever.
Right.
I was going into this movie with relatively low expectations, not because of anything other than what I'd seen in the trailers. It looked okay from the trailers. There wasn't anything in there that had me super excited. And so my expectations were such that I thought I could at least go in and enjoy the movie. But I didn't. I didn't really enjoy any part of it. I thought that, and again, lots of spoilers here, so my apologies to both of you guys who haven't even seen it yet.
It's fine. I think you're going to save us a lot of money here.
Away. I'm not, yeah.
All right. So, Snake Eyes the character was incredibly unlikable for me. He was a complete douchebag who was not a good or honorable person. And the hero quest that he's supposed to go on, where he realizes that what he'd done was wrong and that he had to do something different, it didn't work for me. It was too forced. It didn't give enough time to percolate properly. I didn't care for that aspect of it. So, I mean, when your main character is wrong from the beginning, it's kind of hard to get into anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Storm Shadow was easily the strongest part of the film. Like, he is the one that I think they got right. And he was the most compelling character in this movie.
Wow.
Scarlett might as well not even been there. I don't know why she was there other than to shoehorn any aspect of G.I. Joe into this movie, which it was. I mean, anything G.I. Joe related was so forced and unnatural. Again, it didn't work for me. Baroness, I thought, was really miscast. I did not care for the Baroness at all. The fight sequences were one step above Iron Fist, I would say.
Ooh.
But when I got out of the movie, I was like, all right, I want to go home and watch The Raid because I wanted to see some good fight scenes. Because I didn't get any of that. I mean, I didn't get a lot of good fight scenes in this movie, and I don't know if it was the PG-13, if it was the lack of blood, and I don't need a lot of CGI blood. I'm not saying that. I don't need John Wick levels of blood to enjoy it, but the fight scenes didn't work. The cuts that they were using, it looked like they were making up for a lot of, just not good moves, I guess I would, for lack of a better term.
Right.
Let's see what else. The challenges that he goes through. I know I mentioned this to Josh before we started recording. So when he joins the Arashikage, or when he's taken into the clan, he's got to go through these 3 challenges. The first challenge, I actually enjoyed. I thought that was really well done. I thought that even that fight was well choreographed, and the resolution I thought was pretty cool. The second challenge, I don't even remember.
Oh boy,
it was forgettable. The third challenge was probably my favorite, and I think a lot of people may not have cared for this because it was so cartoony. Because you've got these 2 giant. When I say giant, I mean like giant, like swallow you whole giant anacondas with heads the size of the actors. These 2 giant anacondas. How they got anacondas of this size to Japan in the first place, I don't know. But they were there. And they were called anacondas. So anyway, there's these 2 giant anacondas. It was very much in line with what you would have seen in like the Sunbow cartoon. And so that part of it I liked. But it went a little too far in that fantastical direction when we're talking about a magic rock that can burn people and buildings with but a thought. And so it kind of lost me there a little bit. I could have done without the magic rock. Snake Eyes, like I said, was not Snake Eyes to me, and that had nothing to do with his appearance. The one thing, and I think I mentioned this like really early on before I ever saw the movie, the one thing that I really wanted this movie to end with, if we were doing an origin story, was him becoming Snake Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I really wanted to see was that scene of him being a real hero, not a douchebag, but a real hero, and you know, running into a burning helicopter to save Scarlet and scarring his face and losing his voice in the process. I wanted that. I wanted to see something like that. And I don't understand why we didn't really get that part of it, because I think that one, it's would have completed his character in that origin story, because now I feel like there's another piece of his origin story that's missing. It also would have, in my opinion, been a better way to complete that hero's journey than him just being like, all right, I changed my mind, I'm going to actually go help these guys now, and not betray the Arashikage. And so I think that there was a lot missing from that. I think there was definitely room there for more G.I. Joe. If it had been introduced a little earlier on, or if we actually had more cameos, because, you know, you've got Scarlet that shows up, but she's on her own. Well, where's the rest of the team? What are they doing? Come on. You can't get like 3 or 4 guys to go with her as a team.
Right.
And so I wanted to like it so much, and I came out of there thinking, man, was Rise of Cobra like a better movie?
Probably,
and
right?
It's something that it's vexing me. I think on it. I don't know if it is or not. I'm not saying it is.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I got out of there thinking, is Rise of Cobra a better G.I. Joe movie? Because I don't know. This was definitely not it, though.
When did you know you were in trouble? Like, was it 10 minutes in, 15, or was it just like here and there? You're like, okay, I have hope, and then nothing.
It was. I'm trying to think. It was pretty early on. Like the very first scene, I was like, okay, I'm optimistic. All right, this could be good. But then, yeah, by the second scene, you know, he's in this cage fight. He gets recruited to work for this, you know, this Japanese crime syndicate, and he meets Storm Shadow, and a lot of it started to fall apart there because there's these like weird plot holes that come up, and these, I don't know if they were jumps in editing, but the way that they introduced Storm Shadow didn't really make sense to me, because I'd mentioned this earlier, but he's undercover inside this crime syndicate because his cousin, who was a former Arashikage, is now the head of it, and so he goes undercover for whatever reason, and it doesn't make sense because it's his cousin. His cousin's the guy in charge. Like, his cousin knows who he is. So why are you undercover? I mean, that'd be like me going undercover at my cousin's business and thinking like the guy's not going to recognize me.
Right.
For family. So I don't know.
What the hell? Yeah.
There was weird things like that I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't get it.
Ouch.
So yeah, it was relatively early on, and then by the end, I was just kind of like, I was done. I was like, is this movie? I look over, and you know, there was a group of local G.I. Joe fans that we'd rented this theater, and I had taken my wife and my kid, and my son liked it. He thought it was okay, and I look over, my wife's like sleeping. She like fell asleep. She cared so less about these characters and what was happening to them. She was just out. I was like, all right. So
what did the other collectors think?
You know, I didn't get a lot of their opinions afterwards.
They leave? Is that why?
I think, yeah. And I think a lot of it had to, like, I think it was still kind of like percolating, where it's like, what did I just see?
Right.
Did I like it? I mean, like, there was one point where I was like, all right, it's okay. And then something else happened. I was like, no, it's not okay.
It's not okay.
Like, there was these weird, kind of during this last climactic battle, there was these weird editing jumps that again didn't make sense to me, where the bad guy is here and then all of a sudden he's here doing something else. And so it almost gave me that like that first Suicide Squad vibe.
Yeah.
Where you had some weird edit jumps in there where like they come up upon these people who they don't know who they are and they attack them, and there's just weird things
just
like
messy.
that I was like, yeah, it was. Yeah, it didn't flow well in my opinion. So
I heard there's a lot of shaky cam. Is that true?
Possibly. I mean, with the fight sequences, there's such fast cuts anyway that I don't know if it's the camera that's shaking or if it's just a really fast cut.
It's like they didn't have a choreographer. It sounds like, you know, they're like, oh shit, we'll just make cuts, quick cuts.
yeah, I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been like, you know, it was not American Ninja bad as far as the fighting goes, but
Oh
it was
God.
not good with what we can do today. So
Damn, that's a letdown. Like, what the hell? Like, it's sad that an origins film doesn't really tell the origins, right? Because he's supposed to become
Oh.
what you know of the character, like the
right.
And that's the other thing. It's like when you cast like an actor, like I don't see them, especially if it's like a successful film. How do you you know, it's like Iron Man. How do you keep Robert Downey Jr. Not to say this guy is on that level, but how do you just keep him in the costume all the time with no voice or anything, and the actor's gonna be fine with it? You know, like what was the big plan? Like, you know, was this new Snake Eyes gonna be able to talk or still, or what?
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is going forward. I mean, he talks throughout this entire film. He gets his, you know, it's funny because the end of the movie, again, spoilers here, he betrays the Arashikage clan. He steals this magic rock, gives it to the bad guy, which he knows the bad guy is going to turn around and use it to destroy the Arashikage. So he is knowingly killing all of these people. So he betrays them, you know, which obviously that pisses off Storm Shadow and the GEEKS knockoff. I don't even remember what her name is. And they come to a truce. They fight the bad guys off. And at the very end, Storm Shadow uses this magic rock to try and kill the bad guy. I think he misses him, but like kind of like explodes a building. And they had sworn to never use the rock, that they were just going to protect it. And because of that, his grandmother, who's like the head of the clan, is like, well, you're never going to leave this clan. It kind of like basically shuns him. And he like, you know, goes off on his own. He's like, all right, you know, fucking I'm out of here. But I'm not done with you, Snake Eyes. And that kind of like what builds up the, you know, their animosity towards one another.
Right.
And then Snake Eyes, who also betrayed the clan, they're like, oh, hey, here's this awesome new costume that we made. And here's a bicycle, you know, have fun. And I'm just like, what? Like, it's so dumb.
What the hell? It seems like they should have switched places, those characters, right? Like, I don't know.
So the original source material, in my opinion, was so rich that there's really a lot there they could have pulled from that they didn't. When you have, you know, a decorated war hero who is taken in by the clan because he and Tommy, you know, Storm Shadow, they served together in Vietnam, and you can even update that. It doesn't have to be Vietnam,
right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But you know, they served together. Snake Eyes' family is killed on the way to pick him up at the airport, so they don't show up. And so you've got General Hawk that shows up and to tell them the news, that sort of thing. You've got Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes training together, or they're training Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes is becoming a more skilled warrior than even Storm Shadow, and so jealousy is building up. You can even get like more intricate with it because it was Cobra Commander's drunk brother that killed Snake Eyes' family, but Cobra Commander blamed Snake Eyes, so he hires Zartan to kill Snake Eyes, but actually kills one of the other masters at the Urashikage clan. So Storm Shadow is blamed for the assassination and runs off and joins Cobra to actually find out who really killed him. I mean, so there was like things that the first two movies actually got right in terms of history,
right?
But I don't know why they did away with all of that here, and they didn't try to incorporate bits and pieces of that, because I think that still tells a more compelling story than what we got.
It's like they just wanted a whole new character, but just to take the title of Snake Eyes and the look.
Yeah,
that's just
exactly right.
What you just described sounds so much more interesting than the review of the film. You know, like how bad it was. Like, what the hell?
And I don't know if there's people out there that liked the movie or not. I heard one person say that it was better the second time.
Oh.
I don't know how they possibly sat through it a second time, because I could not.
And pay money for it, right?
Rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's not streaming on anything, and so they're paying money to see this garbage.
I'll watch it, but I'll wait till it comes out on some free platform I have. I don't. What about you, Bill? Is this you still have interest, or did you ever have interest to see this?
I had interest just simply for the fact that Snake Eyes is my favorite character, so that makes me think I might want to avoid this film.
You're gonna break a TV
Well, and I
over it.
guess, yeah, I mean, it depends on what makes Snake Eyes your favorite character, but there's really, because he was never one of my favorite characters. I've always like gone more for the obscure characters,
Yeah.
but there wasn't a lot of Snake Eyes here, other than he could fight. I mean, other than he was a ninja or had combat, skills.
Looked
I mean, that was
cool,
really the
yeah.
only aspect of the character that we got. I mean, for being an origin story, he spends most of his time. There's like this cut from him as a child to him as an adult, where he is a cage fighter, but we don't know how he got there. We don't know. I mean, we know that he's trying to find out, what happened to his father, who he really is, etc. So there's still an air of mystery around him.
Mm-hmm.
But for an origin story, I think it failed.
Yeah, sounds like it.
See, what appeals to me about Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow was like they were the, G.I. Joe is all about like buff army dudes and guns, and they were like the ninja characters. So that's what I got into more as a kid, and I was like, it'd be kind of cool to see like an origin story about them if they like went in the same vein that they did with the movies or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, you can almost have too much of a good thing. I mean, look at the Wolverine Origins movie that they did, and that's kind of what I was like. Oh God, I really hope it's not like that, but it kind of almost sounds like it was.
Actually, it sounds worse than the Wolverine Origins to me. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that was a different kind of bad. I mean, that was bad for different reasons.
Right.
Because that was one of those where it wasn't even Wolverine so much they got wrong, but it was a lot of other aspects of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, hello, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, or that version of Deadpool is kind of like the most glaring one. But I think the Wolverine themselves, I think the titular character themselves, I think they got pretty right. And so that at least had that going forward in Origins.
Yeah, well, I know this was supposed to set up a big franchise for Paramount. I think they were working on G.I. Joe's and G.I. Joe, and then they're still going to do Transformers. So let's hope that one's better received, I guess.
Based on how much money it didn't make, I don't think that it's going to set up a franchise.
It's killed it.
I think it's probably going to like sit on the back burner for a while, and then maybe they'll try and relaunch it again. And hopefully, it won't be written by a committee or produced by Lorenzo Bonaventura. He needs to be.
Did he produce the other films
from Hollywood?
Do you know?
Yeah, he did the other ones, and I think he did the Transformer. He did all the Transformer ones too.
Yeah, might need new talent there. I don't know. Jeez. You think it would have been better to just make another sequel to the last film, or like a light reboot, I guess?
No, I wouldn't have done a sequel. Well, I wouldn't have done a sequel to the other ones, but maybe you could have. I think there was definitely ways to do a sequel to the other ones that would have made it more successful. Because you already had at that point Cobra established. You killed off Duke, but you never saw the body. You could easily bring him back. True. There was something they left themselves some holes. You already had the backstory with Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes fleshed out, and even resolved by the end of it. So no, I think that it probably would have been easier to do a sequel and follow it. That wouldn't have been my preference, though, because, again, I didn't really care for either of those movies either.
Right, I think the second one was better in many ways, but also not as big.
Yeah, so the first one lacked the feel of G.I. Joe, but it kind of had the scope that it should have had. Like the battle at the end. I mean, it had the intended scope. The second one felt more like G.I. Joe, but it lacked the scope. If that makes sense. It was such a small scale that it didn't feel like G.I. Joe to me. So
because it was probably less budget, and they didn't reuse a lot of the characters. I think the first one was, the character designs were I think a lot more on par. Although Cobra Commander was improved in the second one, I thought he looked more like he should have looked.
Right, agreed. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was much better in the second one.
Yeah, I hate when studios are like, yeah, the last one didn't make a lot, so we got to panic and we'll just reboot it. And if you're gonna reboot it and actually do it justice, like you described how his origin is, then yeah. But wow, what a misstep! Like, why would you just? The material's there, right? It's like it's not that hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the history is there. Everything is there.
Yeah.
They got so much wrong in my opinion. And again, this is just my humble opinion.
Yeah.
I'm no expert. I'm not going to sit here and say that I've written a better G.I. Joe movie, but I probably have.
Yeah, I bet you have.
My
Sounds
fan
like
fiction would probably be better than the garbage that I've seen so far. So
you know what we need to do, because I don't know if some people probably know this, but you take photos of your G.I. Joes in settings. Like, you should do a damn movie of that, and I think it would be a lot more entertaining. It sounds like, or a trailer. Do a trailer.
Stop motion.
Yes. It'll take a while, right? Have your son do it, because he'll have more energy probably to move it constantly.
He's probably got. Yeah, he does. He makes a lot of his own animation now.
That's cool. Wow.
Pictures, but he draws that. He basically draws that stuff out and animates it, and
wow,
he's actually pretty good at it.
That's awesome.
It's surprising.
Cool.
But this is also the kid that has to upload our YouTube videos, because I don't know how to even do that. I'm so technologically stupid. I'm like, all right, so how do you splice this beginning and this middle part together so that it looks like one video? And he's like, oh, it's easy. All you have to do is this. And I'm like, just do it.
Someday he's going to make the G.I. Joe film you want to see. There you go.
That's right. That's right.
Damn right. That's awesome. Well, yeah. Thanks for saving us some money there and other people listening.
Yeah, and if anyone has any different opinions,
yeah.
I love to hear other sides. I love to hear people that are wrong. So
yeah, and it's not like we're celebrating it not being as good. You know, I wanted it to be good. You know, we all did, and
I know
that just sucks. You know, you put all that on the line. It's like you should just do it right. Like there's so much.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
There's so much good that can come from, if this movie had been good and had been a hit, it could have been a franchise.
Yeah.
It could have started a new franchise. It could have launched. I know we've got toys coming, but the toy distribution with G.I. Joe's such shit anyway. I don't have high hopes there.
Right.
But if it was successful, it could have launched a whole new line of toys that might have been pretty cool. It could have actually, if that's successful, it might have actually given credence to Hasbro wanting to go back and do more traditional, vintage style figures again, which would make me cream. And so I just there's so much good that could have come from it. I didn't want it to be what it was.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, like we were talking about Batgirl earlier on 174. They need to embrace the colors too of the characters. Like write it like realistic as you want, but just ignore how I guess they would look ridiculous, but people love that shit. They love to see those costumes that pop. And that will sell toys too, right? And it's like, I think we've come to a point where we'll forgive. True fans will love it. People on the outside will probably forgive it. You know, like, okay, I get it. It's a toy. They want to sell toys, but it's also a good story, you know? So,
right.
I think that's where they need to have more attraction with films going forward. Like Snake Eyes, obviously, he's all black, so they're going to do that for sure, right? But, yeah, just...
And there's ways to make that absurd look really, really cool. And that's, we're talking like the new Suicide Squad movie. Like that is one way that you get it right.
Right.